What's up, everybody? Jack Fall here on behalf of Box to Box Football, doing my weekly power rankings. Let's get into it. 20 got Villarreal dropping 5 places. Look, 3 draws in a row. First couple of draws were against decent teams, so I kind of let them off a little bit. But a draw this past week against Elche does see them drop a little more significantly. You can only give so much before you see a certain trend happening, and they certainly seem to be going down a little bit. In at 19, I have Monaco, another team massively dropping. A loss to a really strong, decent Lille side who was certainly good earlier in the year. Lille probably trying to reclaim their spot on this list. It may well be at the expense of Monaco. In at 18, I have a new team, Wolfsburg. They haven't had much credit this season. They haven't had really too much to shout about, but I do think it does say something that over 10 games this year, they are undefeated. Problem for the Wolfsburg side, though, 6 draws within those 10 games. A few more of those draws become wins, and they may be much, much higher in the Bundesliga table. In at 17, I have Manchester City. Aguero's now back from injury. Teams seem to be getting back to something here. They'll certainly make their push for the top 4 again. With a decent enough January transfer window and players staying fit, maybe remotivated by Pep, might even see a title challenge from this City team. They're just way too good at this point for me to not have them on the list. Manchester United in at 16, also up 2 places, like Manchester City. Stringing some wins together. It's 4 in a row. A disappointing exit for the Manchester team in the Champions League, that loss to Leipzig, but certainly in the league, really, really going strong. Obviously, all this stuff going on with Paul Pogba. We'll see what the January transfer window brings, but a title challenge and top 4, similar to Man City, not out of the question. In at 15, this is kind of a funny one. James has kind of baited me into this. I like to give credit to some teams for some weaker leagues who are performing very well. So over the past few weeks, Vitesse Arnhem have had a bit of a shout out. Braga have had a bit of a shout out as well. Here's Rangers. It's not to say they don't deserve their spot on this list at 15th, kind of in the world as a club. They do. They're undefeated over 16 games. There's only 2 draws in that period, so 14 wins. A ridiculous, giant goal difference of 42. They've only conceded 3 games. It's very, very strong showing. Obviously, when you've got teams like Celtic in the league who are going to battle you for that, still very, very impressive. However, all I would say, the strength of opposition is nowhere near good enough. The reason why certainly teams in Liga, I don't give as much credit as I will to Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga and Serie A teams. It's because the league is nowhere near strong enough. I give Steven Gerrard and the Rangers team a lot of credit. If you made me pick my favourite between Celtic and Rangers, I would say I'm probably going to be a Rangers guy. I do love it. The one thing I'll say about this managerial performance from Steven Gerrard, the post-Klopp era, I think we're going to see the prodigal son return home to Liverpool. Very exciting for football, especially if you are a Liverpool fan. In at 14, I've got PSG up 3 places. Look, they got a win after 2 pretty subpar performances. The low scoring of PSG, and I kind of mentioned this in the Rangers comment as well, the league's not really as good, and PSG really are the standout team. Excuse me, you would massively expect PSG to really win every game, if not be undefeated over the course of a season. If not, at least be undefeated. Most games really should be wins, and it's a hell of a lot closer in Liga than it should be for this PSG team, which is why they are still in 14th. In 13, I've got Juventus. It's not been good enough for Juve. They're still undefeated, actually very similar record to that of Wolfsburg. They do have one more win though, a 50% win rate. It's not up to their high standards. They are making moves in the right way you feel. Matis de Ligt looks a hell of a lot more comfortable. Ronaldo's obviously still going off, despite his age. He's still hitting those levels that we're accustomed to seeing. This team, though, is another draw away from going back to, I don't know what's going on here. And I would say of all years, this is going to be the year where teams have a shot of beating Juventus for the Scudetto. So let's hope so. Somebody please do it. In at 12, we have Lyon. 4 wins in a row. Solid spot in Liga. Can't give them too much credit. I think I've said in previous videos, this squad is always likely to change. Squad turnover and difference of performances always make that quite likely. But they hold their strong spot in 12th. In 11, Inter kind of making their way up the power rankings here. They just look better and better. We got Lukaku rolling a little more now. Really like a lot of their players. I think the signings of Hakimi and Kolarov, RIP. You guys will notice Roma aren't on the list anymore. Sad times. But yeah, Inter are looking a hell of a lot better, and I expect them to push Milan, and maybe we'll have an Internazionale Milan kind of Milan derby going on here. Moving up in the table to 10th, we have Real Sociedad. They've dropped 5 points. Really disappointing draw to a 10-man Alaves team. Look, a team like Real Sociedad and some of the historically weaker teams in this list, they really have to prove it to me that they deserve to be here, because a lot of the time what's going to happen, the teams who have a history of making it to the top of parts of the table and later in the competitions are the teams with that history and that name recognition behind them. So if you are a team like Real Sociedad, a draw for a team like Atletico Madrid or Bayern or somebody like that wouldn't affect them too much. If you're a team like Real Sociedad, you need to keep winning games to prove it to me that you deserve to be in this power rankings. Sees them drop 5 places. In at 9, Leipzig have dropped 1 spot as well. Solid spot in the Bundesliga table, really in a good spot, especially in their recent performances. It does keep them in the top 10 quite convincingly. Obviously, their impressive Champions League win against Manchester United midweek. In at 8, we have Marseille going up another place. Yeah, 8 games undefeated, 5 wins in a row. They're really making moves in Liga here, and it seems as though, potentially worst case scenario of any game they go into is going to be a draw. They really don't look like losing. And as long as they keep winning games, they're going to keep climbing their spot in this list in Ligue 1. In at 7, we have a rising Bayer Leverkusen team. Really strong showing against Schalke, 3-0 win. Very steady performers this year. They hold their position strongly in the Bundesliga. They're up 3 spots, kind of cracking into the higher places in the top 10 here in at 7. In at 6 is Liverpool. They've only gone up 1 spot. A really dominant win against kind of a struggling Wolves team, despite all their injuries. I say this every video. A Liverpool team that is fully fit is fighting it out with the other teams at the top for the number 1 spot. Despite those injuries, I just can't give them the credit that they really should deserve. In at 5, I have Chelsea. Really solid kind of routine win against Leeds. I predicted 3-1. It was 3-1. I think I want to bet on the game as well. Yeah, this Chelsea team are just going to get better and better. If rumours are to be believed, Antonio Rudiger and Kepa Arrizabalaga are on kind of the trade block on the transfer list for Chelsea to try and get Declan Rice through the door in the January transfer window. If any movement happens there and some players start to move around a little bit, Declan Rice goes to Chelsea, you've got to say that they are certainly going to be contenders for that title, let alone a top 4 spot this year. 4, Milan. Still undefeated, still top of Serie A. The 3 teams ahead of them are better than them, in my opinion, but this isn't to say that Milan haven't been still very, very impressive with what they've managed to do this year. Zlatan is a revelation in terms of what he's been able to do. He's only played, I think, in 5 or 6 games so far this year, but whenever he does play, it's game over. Milan are winning. Number 3, Spurs. Yeah, back to winning ways in the North London derby. Kane and Son absolutely popping off right now. Mourinho really does seem to have this kind of the ingredients of this recipe down again, as we've seen with teams in the past. I think when we see them have a real kind of proper test, so I think if they were to play, say, a Liverpool or a Manchester City, a Manchester United again, we'll start to see it. We saw them play Chelsea in a game where neither team you would thought would want to lose the game, so a draw seemed likely. I am still interested to see this Spurs team go up against some stronger opposition, but they look very good value potentially for the league title. In at number 2, Atletico Madrid still just miss out on top spot by the skin of their teeth. Undefeated, keep winning. They're going to probably win La Liga this year. It's certainly theirs to lose. Diego Simeone looking good, and I mentioned this in previous videos. This squad has been together a long time. They know each other very, very well. They play as a team, they work together as a team, and they love and respect their manager. Number 1, Bayern Munich. Yeah, this is still the best team in the world. I don't need to talk about it too much. They're my pick for the Champions League again this year. Squad depth, variety, good coaching, a motivated team. I really don't see the end in sight for this Bayern Munich team. Guys, let me know your picks. Sassuolo fell off the power rankings this week. Roma fell off the power rankings this week. Trying to think, Braga fell off the power rankings this week. Let me know what you think of my power rankings. Who should be higher? Who should be lower? Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.